This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. A lone gunman shot dead on Thursday night a staff member of Cotabato City Mayor Mohamed Bruce Matabalayo as he was walking home in Datuodan Sinsa town in Maguindanao del Norte. Major Reggie Albellara, Datuodan Sinsa town police chief, identified the victim as Faisal Malagiak, 40, more known as Papa, an office staff of Matabalayo, and a resident of SPDA subdivision, Barangay Semba, Datuodan Sinsuit. He died on the spot from about 5 gunshot wounds in the head and body, said Albellara of the shooting that took place at 7 p.m. We are still facing a blank wall as to the motive and identity of the lone attacker, he added. Albellara said Malagiak, a singing artist, was walking along a poorly lit alley leading to his boarding house when a lone gunman opened fire. Quoting witnesses, Albellara said the gunman fled on board a motorbike. Matabalayo was saddened by the news and called for a speedy probe into Malagiak's death. Justice for Papa, Matabalayo said in a social media post, describing Malagiak as a reliable staff at the office of the city mayor and a good friend. A policeman and 3 alleged contract killers yielded some 306,000 pesos worth of illegal drugs and firearms after being separately arrested in this city, a top police official said Thursday. Colonel Alexander Lorenzo, Zamboanga City Police Office Director, said the 3 alleged contract killers were arrested by Joint Police and Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency personnel in an anti-drug operation around 9:15 am Thursday in Barangay Cabatangan. Lorenzo identified them as Jonathan Espina, Rodel Julian, and Dexter Herrera. Another cohort, Yamato Francisco, managed to escape. Seized from the suspects were some 15 grams of suspected shabu worth 102,000 pesos, a 45 caliber pistol, a 38 caliber revolver, a 45 caliber replica, and other pieces of evidence. 2 of the suspects, Julian and Francisco, were involved in 2 recent shooting incidents in Barangay San Roque and Talisayan here, Lorenzo said. Meanwhile, Master Sergeant Marlon Demasip was arrested Thursday afternoon at the office of the Special Investigation Unit Criminal Investigation and Detection Management Unit of ZCPO. Demasip, 40, was arrested while in possession of a sling bag containing some 30 grams of suspected shabu worth 204,000 pesos. Lorenzo said Demasip was ordered to report to the SIUCIDMU to shed light as the 3 suspects arrested in the buy-bust operation in Barangay Cabatangan pinpointed him as the group's alleged mastermind. Also seized from Demasip were his service sidearm, 2 lighters, and other pieces of evidence. Demasip is currently assigned to the ZCPO Station 7 Anti-Illegal Drug Enforcement Team. The National Bureau of Investigation has charged a village chief in this city and 2 others in Cabancalan City, both in Negros Occidental Province, for alleged involvement in the illegal operation of the small town lottery. The filing of criminal charges against Noli Villarosa, Barangay Chair of Tangubhir, as well as Joel Alabango of Barangay 5 and Franz Leonard Seguro of Barangay 6 in the southern city, before the Cabancalan City Prosecutor's Office on Wednesday was confirmed by NBI Bacolod agent in charge Renoir Baldovino. Villarosa immediately denied the charges. I have no involvement in illegal gambling. I'm willing to be investigated, he told reporters in a telephone interview. Baldovino said the investigation showed that in Cabancalan, Villarosa is the financier while Alabango and Seguro are the protectors. Also charged was an alias Marmor Jinjo, tagged as the manager. Villarosa said he cannot be a financier since he does not have the money, adding that it should be proven that he is receiving bet money from the illegal STL operations. Asked for his reaction on Thursday, Bacolod City Mayor Alfredo Abelardo Benitez said Villarosa's alleged links to illegal gambling surprised him. I'm surprised since I have no reports towards that. Probably the NBI has a basis of what they are doing, he said. With the charges filed against Villarosa, the village chief will be given the chance to clear his name and defend himself from the accusations in a proper forum, the mayor added. Baldovino said the criminal charges filed against the 4 respondents are for violation of Presidential Decree 1602 as amended by Republic Act 9287, which penalizes persons involved in illegal numbers games. He said the charges are supported by the testimonies of the village watchman and the bet collectors arrested during an entrapment operation on February 15 in Cabancalan City. Police arrested in General Santos City on Friday morning a municipal councillor of Tantangan, South Cotabato who is facing rape and sexual abuse charges. Tantangan Vice Mayor Cesar Dacileo told DXOM Radio Bida Coronadal that Councillor June Seneca, 60, did not resist arrest when law enforcers presented him a warrant for his arrest in Barangay Bula, General Santos City. Dacileo said Seneca has not been attending the town council's regular sessions, special sessions and other legislative activities since January 16. After learning that a warrant had been issued against him, Seneca, who is on his third term as municipal councillor, went into hiding. Seneca served 3 terms as chairman of Barangay Poblacion before getting elected to the town council. The court has recommended no bail for the local official. Anti-narcotics operatives arrested 4 suspected drug personalities, including a barangay tanod, and recovered 102,000 pesos worth of shabu in a buy-bust operation in Caramon town in Camarines Sur province on Saturday morning, March 11. Mark Anthony Vare, chief of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency in Camarines Sur, said in a report that Jose Fernand Largas, 33, Jessel Angeles, 23, Cyrus Kim Hernandez, 30, and Richard Dianala, 47, were arrested in Barangay Orocasok at around 10:05 am. Dianala, the village watchman of Barangay 4 in Garchitorena town, was a visitor at the alleged drug den operated by Largas. Vire told the Inquirer in a chat message that Largas was identified as the supplier of illegal drugs in the said town and to some tourists and various beach resorts. Recovered were 5 sachets or 15 grams of shabu, 5 transparent plastic sachets with traces of illegal drugs, aluminum foils with a residue of shabu, and other drug tools. The suspects were facing charges of violating the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. In the second criminal conviction of law enforcers for drug war killings during the term of President Rodrigo Duterte, a dismissed Calacan policeman was convicted on Monday for the murders of teenagers Carl Angelo Arnes and Reynaldo de Guzman in 2017 and sentenced to 40 years in prison. After careful examination and perusal of the several pieces of evidence presented as well as the testimonies of all parties, this court finds accused, former police officer 1, Jeffrey Sumbo Perez guilty, beyond reasonable doubt. Judge Romana Lindeag del Rosario of the Navas Regional Trial Court Branch 287 said in her 80-page decision, the court ruled that Perez intentionally killed the 2 teenagers based on medical findings that showed Arnes had 5 bullet wounds while de Guzman was stabbed 28 times. It sentenced him to suffer the penalty of reclusion perpetua, or 40 years in jail without eligibility for parole. On top of this, he was ordered to pay the kin of each victim 100,000 pesos for civil indemnities, 200,000 pesos for moral and exemplary damages, and 45,000 pesos for actual damages. Criminal charges were filed before the Department of Justice Monday against police officers who allegedly killed or witnessed the death of 3 young men in Sultan Kudarat province in December last year. Lawyer Ronald Olilid Torres said evidence suggests that at least one of the victims was kneeling when he was shot. Murder, planting of evidence, falsification of documents, grave misconduct, conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service, and irregularity in the performance of duty were slapped against Lambayong Municipal Police Station Chief, Major Genomil Tanakeo, and 7 others. The co-accused are Senior Master Sergeant Cyril Mahadi, Corporal Elpidio Galit, Corporal Joffrey Apala, Patrolman Nicol Dion Torreja, Patrolman Basamako, Patrolman Mario Rombeo Jr. and Patrolman Roldan Claveria. The complainants thanked the National Bureau of Investigation for pursuing the cases. Police claimed it was a shootout after Samanadin Ali, 19, Horton Answer Jr., 20, and Arsad Answer, 18, who were on a motorcycle, escaped a checkpoint. Based on the documents that we have, they were shot. We have a post-mortem report. We have an autopsy. We have ballistic reports. So we have complete documents showing their misdeeds, Torres said in a media briefing outside the DOJ office in Manila, in disputing the police version. Policemen have arrested a municipal councillor wanted for violation of anti-terror law during a law enforcement operation at the Cotabato airport in Maguindanao del Norte province Monday afternoon. Abdulwadud Sanki, a member of the Ampatuan Town Council in Maguindanao del Sur province, was served with an arrest warrant for violation of Republic Act 11479 or the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 as he was about to disembark from the plane that landed past 1 p.m. at the Cotabato airport. Sanki, 27, did not resist arrest, according to Brigadier General John Guaguayan, Police Regional Director for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Sankey was the town's most wanted man and also the fourth most wanted at the regional level, Guiguian said. Subject's wanted person was allegedly involved in the bombing incident during the May 9, 2022 national and local elections at the Datu Abdullah Sankey Elementary School, Barangay Poblacion, Ampachuan, Maguindanao. The police official said in a statement, Sankey is the president of the Sangguniang Kabataan Federation and sits as an ex officio member of the Ampachuan Town Council. He had just attended the 11th Councilors League 2023 National Convention held at World Trade Center in Pasay City. Sankey is detained at the detention facility of the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group BARMM in Cotabato City. A barangay captain and his wife were shot dead by two motorcycle-riding assailants along the national highway of Asturias town, Cebu on Tuesday. Manguao barangay captain Maro Delfin Tundag was riding a motorcycle with his wife Edna when two persons on board another motorcycle fired at them. Police said the still unidentified assailants may have been trailing the couple and got the chance to fire on them at Barangay Poblacion. In his report, Asturias Town Police Chief Major Alden Zambrano said that the Tundag couple came from neighboring Balamban town and were on their way home to Manguao in Asturias. After the shooting of the couple, the two suspects immediately fled towards Balamban. Zambrano told reporters that the shooting could have been political in nature, though they were still looking at other possible angles. The investigators are now checking who are the political opponents of Barangay Captain Tundag. Footage of a closed-circuit television secured by the police showed that the suspects were wearing black helmets and white long-sleeve shirts. A hot pursuit operation was already launched by the police following the incident. Unidentified gunman shot dead a village chairperson of nearby Datu Hofer Ampachuan town on Tuesday afternoon, police said. Kianul Rulsamis, Maguindanao Police Director, identified the victim as Haji Basit Zankla, village chairman of Barangay Labu-Labu 2. Quoting a report from Sheriff Agwak Municipal Police Office, Samis said Zankala was sitting inside his car parked beside the highway while waiting for his wife who was buying rice at a roadside store. Two men on a motorbike approached the victim's car at past 5 p.m. and opened fire using a caliber .45 pistol. Major Harun Makabunding, Sheriff Agwak Town Police Chief, said responding police and civilians rushed the victim to the provincial hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police found 7 empty shells for a caliber .45 pistol. Samis on Wednesday ordered the creation of a special investigation task group to speed up the probe. He said police are still clueless as to the identities and mastermind behind the killing of Zankala. The Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group has filed criminal complaints against Representative Arnolfo Arnaives Jr. and his two sons over loose firearms seized in the house of the lawmaker. PNP Colonel Jean Fajardo, spokesperson of the agency, said in a streamed press conference that the complaint was filed before the Department of Justice on Wednesday afternoon. Fajardo said the complaints are for illegal possession of firearms and of explosives. The PNP spokesperson said that they have secured 10 search warrants for different properties in Negros Oriental province. The complaint filed before the DOJ this afternoon stemmed from the search warrant implemented in Teves' house in Bayonne where we seized high-caliber unlicensed firearms and explosives. Fajardo said the lawmaker and his sons will undergo preliminary investigation. The PNP CIDG on Tuesday said they have filed illegal possession of firearms and of explosives complaints against the lawmaker's aide and 5 others. This was following the raids conducted in 5 different addresses in Pasay and Bayan City, in Negros Oriental on March 10. In a March 11 statement, the CIDG said they conducted simultaneous implementation of search warrants through its intensified campaign against loose firearms or Oplan Paglalansago Miga in the province of Negros Oriental. Fajardo explained in the press conference that they sought search warrants from the courts following the filing of multiple murder complaints against Teves and associates close to him over 2019 killings. This, the police spokesperson said, prompted them to check whether the respondents are keeping loose firearms. A panel of prosecutors from the Department of Justice indicted suspended Bureau of Corrections Director Gerald Bantag and several others over the killing of broadcaster Percival Mabasa, who was popularly known as Percy Lapid, and beloved inmate John Villama. In a resolution, the DOJ panel also named Senior Superintendent Ricardo Zulueta and inmates Alvin Labra and Aldrin Galicia as respondents for 2 counts of murder alongside Bantag. Likewise named respondents for Lapid's killing are Joel Escorial, a certain Edmund Imakilangan, a certain alias Orlando, inmates Denver Mayors and Alfie Penadonda, and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, BJMP, detainee Christopher Bacotto. Escorial is the confessed hitman in the veteran broadcaster's ambush slay case. For Villama's murder, the panel has also named as respondents Mario Alvarez, Joseph Jorfo, Christian Ramuck, Ricky Salgado, Ronnie De La Cruz, and Joel Reyes. The preliminary investigation established that the murders of Mabasa and Villama were attended by conspiracy between and among the respective respondents. The plan of the respondents to kill them both, including its execution, was shown by the evidence for the complainants. Read the DOJ briefer. The prosecution notes that the death of Villama were intertwined with the death of Percival and that the death of the former was used to cover up the death of the latter. The briefer stated, Lapid was killed on October 3, 2022, near the gate of the subdivision where he lived in Las Piñas City. The chief of the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group National Capital Region and 12 other policemen were relieved from their posts over allegations of extortion on a group of Chinese businessmen in Parañaque City. CIDG Chief Brigadier General Romeo Karamat Jr. said Thursday the move was based on the complaint of the victim who sought the assistance of Lieutenant General Rodel Simonia, Philippine National Police Deputy Chief for Administration, after the operatives allegedly took expensive watches and other personal belongings from their group on the 13th of March. Sacked were Colonel Hansel Maranton, director of the CIDG-NCR, 2 other officers and 10 police non-commissioned officers. The victims also told Simonia that the CIDG operatives took 3 million pesos from a vault and also demanded money from them in exchange for their freedom. Karamat, however, clarified that the relief of Maranton was based on the concept of command responsibility since those involved were his officers. In fairness to Colonel Hansel Maranton, I just received a courtesy resignation from being the regional chief of the NCR field unit, maybe so as not to influence the investigation we are doing regarding the robbery extortion activity, Karamat told reporters in a chance interview. The matter is now being investigated. Their relief is a standard operating procedure so as not to have undue influence over the case, he added. For his part, Simonia said the policeman entered one of the houses of a Chinese businessman who was then playing mahjong with friends and fellow businessmen. He said the cops told the victims that they went to the area over noise complaints of the neighbors. They started arresting those people and then allegedly, their offense was illegal gambling, Simonia told reporters. He said the policeman allegedly took 2 expensive watches, a Patek Philippe and Richard Mille and other pieces of jewelry. The 13 arrested personalities were brought here at the CIDG-NCR office Camp Crame and then in exchange for their freedom, according to the complainants, they gave money to our operatives, said Simonia. Some of the jewelry, including the 2 expensive watches, were recovered. Simonia said as the PNP's second highest official, he has a duty to ensure internal discipline is being upheld at all times. If they caught them and they have violations, they should have charged them immediately. Then, it also involves expensive possessions and a big amount of money. This is why I immediately summoned the CIDG director if they have records of the operation. The CIDG director's action is swift about this matter and I also told the PNP chief about this. He immediately ordered a probe and if there is a lapse on the part of our police officers, they are going to be charged, he explained. That's all for this week. I'll see you next week with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.